Sorry, it's been a while since I updated the channel, but if you like what you see, give me a like, subscribe, comment down below, ask me any questions, and together we can grow. Okay, so we got shade protection on the left and the right, and over the top we just put a shade net on that, but you can see these guys have grown a ton since we last updated. We're in like super flower mode. You can see that this one right here really took off, but we're aiming for quality beans, so we want them to be up at least to my wristwatch in size and bean length. That's about 30 centimeters. So we want really premium beans. Right now we're kind of fighting itself because it's doing flowering, but then it's sticking to vegetative, so it shoots off all these extra vines, and but it already has a runner there and a runner there. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop weight on all the plants by cutting off meter long cuttings, and then this will fuel our other greenhouses because we already know that these are productive plants, so we don't have to worry about any issues there. So we're able to do that. But you can see, like, you want the ideal type growth where you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beans, and then let them drop down. Ideally, you want the beans to be back here and not at the tip. These apparently are the better beans, but you can't control pollination. I'm pretty new at it as well. But yeah, this one was good. This was productive, but I think it's still sticking to more vegetative because you can see where it dropped a lot of its beans in the past and then continued on to vegetation. So that's not good. We'll be able to see if we can fix that, but we'll get a lot of cuttings. We'll get probably like 300-400 cuttings out of this, but we got to drop weight. We got to also do a lot of repairs. So yeah, real quick, I'm on a trip anyway with my middle child, and I figured I'd just swing by the farm and kind of do a one-shot update. This is another good one where you would just take this cutting, because see, it has 1 running end, 2 running ends, probably 3, 4, 5. So we need to cut weight. So the best way to do that is to start taking cuttings and pruning that back out. So you're managing vegetative state to productive state. And if it stays in vegetative, it's a vine, it will continue to vine. That's just what they do. They're really good at that. So you have to start dropping weight and then managing the one running end for your plant. Like here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, already 4. So we have to start dropping weight. They're at the right size, so it's really okay to start cutting and prepping other greenhouses. So we'll move it like over that way. Let me lift up the shade net, so over that way. So we rehabilitated the pepper greenhouses, and we're getting them ready for vanilla. That's kind of like the big thing. There's not any one way to do it. It's just the way that works for you at your farm. This one just seems to be the way that's working for us based on our growing climate, our insect pressure, and our disease pressure. There's no way to like really predict what's going to happen until you actually grow your plant and then see how it interacts with your environment. So this is just my method that works in the Philippines at 600 meters above sea level with moderate subtropical temperatures. So let's take a look at some problems as I get eaten alive by ants. So flowering was good. I would say this was overall a success. There isn't too much other than that. Once we got the shade net in, you can see where they're starting to protest. I think we definitely have some disease pressure starting to creep in. And again, that's going to happen because your soil is going to get hit with rain as we start approaching rainy season. And as it splashes up on your plant, it could do that. The also thing that we have to worry about is we got to cover our roots. You really shouldn't see this much exposed roots, so we got to mound up our things. You can use cocoa husk, you can use cocoa peat, you can just use the soil yourself if that's all you have. But what I was concerned about is I started having yellowing. See how it's a very dark green here, and then this was a really nice vine, and now it is yellow. So that's very odd that it would just die all of a sudden. That could be disease, that could be anything else. What had me even more concerned was this one was tagged. It had 12 beans when we started the initial thing. Never mind my terrible label system, but then now it's unhappy, and I'm not sure why, because this was a producer at one point. You can see it's right here. Now, our sun does come from over in this area, does set, so maybe it just spends more time on this side, but I'd only see it like right here. So it's very odd that it was happening in this area. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm going to do fungicide just because we're starting to get into wet season. It'll be copper sulfate. It'll be the blue crystals, and that'll be the best. But back here, it's still showing more pressure of that yellowing. So that's why I'm just trying to figure out what it is as I take a little thing. And the only thing I can think of is just because it starts having the spots. Most likely that's a disease pressure. It could be anything, but we have to treat it. There's not much more I can do about it. This is a nice one. This is definitely not the ideal. We have a really great bean. It's really long, and it's a decent sized bean, but the plant I think is too small, or it has started dying. And again, we're starting to see the black spots inside of it. Most likely means that this is a diseased plant. So we're starting to have disease, or we flowered it too early and it didn't like that, so now it's killing itself. And you don't want to kill your plants. That's like one of the hard things. Once you get them in this productive state, you don't want to kill them off. But these guys all turned around. They were actually very scrawny before. They were more like that one, and then now they've started to get a little bit bigger. So I think it's probably just a balance between fungicide, spraying, maybe a little bit pest pressure, maybe a little bit that, but we got plenty of cuttings to make. It's just making sure that the disease doesn't spread to the rest of the crop. When I was working with other people, when I first got my initial cuttings, like 5-6 years ago, something like, oh man, it's been a while, like 5 or 6 years ago when I started Project Vanilla, they were at a higher elevation, like 1,200 meters above sea level. And they said they were stopping their farm because they were having just such massive disease pressure on the thing. So, you know, it really is one of those things, you never know where it is, because just getting to this state of having just such an amazing layout of 160 plants, more or less, definitely less now, because I'm going to probably kill those if I can't rehabilitate them. This is already really impressive. I really can't explain to you how hard it is to get to this state with cuttings. It's very hard to get to this, and then now this will be our layout to then duplicate into that. But now I have to start taking a bunch of cuttings, so at least I can save the crop, because I think I was talking to a couple of friends in the US and around the world, and one of the things we always talked about with like farming is it's like part luck, part note taking, part like guesswork, and then maybe a little science thrown in there, because you never know what you're going to get with each iteration until you finally get that like smooth consistency of like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then this is just a complete loss. So that's why it's good to really give me a like, a subscribe, a comment down below, ask me any questions, and together we can grow. See, I snuck it in there. Other than that, I don't see too much going on with this. It's going to be more of my management. We're still about 6 months away from a harvest anyway. So now we're just going to do maintenance on the greenhouse. You can see it where it's kind of wavy. So stuff's breaking because it's so massively heavy, which is why I recommended concrete pillars and not bamboo. And then just more guide wires and tires. So yeah, that's it. I can ramble forever on this, but I just wanted to give a quick channel update on kind of what's going on as I walk through the farm. But this is what your vanilla plants should be looking. They should be at least 30 meters in length by the time you're starting to flower. And then other than that, it's been pretty good. Not a lot of people are fortunate enough, and I definitely am super fortunate to be able to do this and share it with you guys. So again, every share, subscribe, like, asking me silly random questions, eventually I will reply to you. And you know, I'm really trying to teach you and share how to grow good vanilla beans. And we're not talking small beans. We want like the size of my forearm type beans. So we're trying to grow a premium product here that can come out of it, because I don't think a lot of people put much value in just the commercial small stuff. We want to actually grow premium vanilla direct from the Philippines to the rest of the world, and then we can grow that from there. So yeah, ask me any questions. I am going to do a tissue culture course, and I see it's been going. There's another channel that I follow. She does a really great job at explaining guerrilla type tissue cultures, but I've really enjoyed following the channel. It's kind of enlightened me, because one of the big things that I would also like doing is, once you have a very productive plant, you need to save its genetic, as I fall in a hole, you need to save its genetic profile, because you already have the success. Now it can die because of disease, but you want to make sure that you keep plants like this, because they're super rare and they're awesome for like tourists. I could probably sell like pictures, and tourists like, hey, come hand pollinate vanilla, save me time. But you know, this is what you're after, is a very, very productive, vigorous plant. And then we can start genetically crossing it with other vanilla plants that we have, so you start making different species. So I'm going to look into that as well. Well, awesome. It's been about 10 minutes. If you guys got any questions, you know what to do. Follow me, like, subscribe. I'll check you out next week. Bye.